Hi, and welcome to our back to school night video. We are so excited that we are able to share this time with you guys. Even though it doesn't look the same as years past, we're glad we have some way that we are able to communicate with you how your kids are doing in school, what they're going to be doing on a daily basis in our classroom and with our little class families, and just kind of so you feel more comfortable knowing all the different processes that are happening in the classroom. As you know, I am Miss Vicki, and I am the lead teacher for both Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, Thursday.
I'm Miss Mary, and I'm with Vicki on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
And I'm Miss Maggie, and I'm here on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
The three of us actually work pretty collaboratively together in terms of planning and prepping for your kids' day and making different sort of plans for how our classroom will run. So it's really a big team that's loving on your kiddos here at school. We have gotten to know all of them pretty well by now, and we have read You're Getting to Know Your Child, and we thank you for taking the time to fill those out. The kids are already getting along so well. I'm hearing that some little kids are saying that they haven't been making friends. We do want to assure you that there is a lot of friendships already being made. They just don't realize what a friend is quite yet. And at this age, many of them are still playing parallel to one another, so they don't realize they're playing together. But we promise you, we have not seen any kiddos who are being left out or who do not have friends. They are doing a great job. So today, what we're going to do in this video is kind of take you through the basics of what your child's day looks like. And in that, we're going to stop and we're going to tell you a little bit more about how our centers run, some tips you can have at home, what different skills we're looking for, and the 5 developmental domains that we're really focusing on here in the classroom. So let's get started. Okay, so how we're going to start is we're going to walk you guys through each step of your child's day. It is pretty routine from one day to the next. The only difference would be on Wednesdays and Thursdays, we include worship in our schedule, and it'll fall right after circle. So instead of our regular dance or other game right there, it'll be worship and learning a Bible story. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to turn it over to Mary, and we're going to start just like you had just dropped them off and we took their temperature.
All right. So you've dropped your child off, and when they come into the room, they'll put their water bottle here, and they'll put their snacks away in their cubby. And then they'll come on over to the sink and wash their hands. Once they've washed their hands, they're gonna come and find their name. And we have dry erase markers. So they'll start out by tracing their name, and after they're done tracing, then they will practice writing their name down below. Once they've done both of those things, they'll come over here, and we usually have a question of the day. And so Miss Vicki will be here at the front and ask them. So this week is, what color is your eyes? And so based on what color their eyes are, they put their name in that section here. After that, then they usually come over to this table with either Maggie or I, and we have an activity to do with them here. Once they're finished with this activity, then we have a couple open centers around the room where they can go and play until it's time for circle time.
Circle time is an important part of every day. It's where we come together as a little class family in the beginning of the day, and we just take a few deep breaths and we get ready for our day to learn and to have fun. Here is where they're introduced to new concepts, where they reinforce old concepts. It's where they hear what is ahead of their day. So if we're working on scissors, it's here where they'll get their first instructions of thumbs up to God, and you put the thumb in the little hole. Or it might be where we work on just a quick little pencil. Hey, when you guys work on pencils today, remember that mountain. We do a lot of that part in the closing circle too, and the opening circle really does focus on this whole board right here. So their month, the different months of the year, the calendar, the days of the week song, the numbers of each day. When special events happen on the calendar, you know, they learn their seasons here, they're learning their sight words and how to read here, and it's been so great to see them already. If you guys go and ask your kiddo YELLW spells, they will say yellow because that was their first sight word they learned last week, and they actually already know it again this week. This week we are learning a new sight word I, and they're learning that when I is all alone, kind of like A, it means it's not a letter, it's a grown-up because it could be all alone, so it gets to be a sight word. They learn our verse of the day. We have a different verse every month that goes along with each of the fruits of the Spirit, and those are on top of the calendar that I send home every month, so you could see what verse they're working on, and they're getting really good at it. They also learn their shape and their colors. They learn there's a difference between temperature and what is appropriate to wear in different temperature versus weather, because weather is what the sky is doing. So they learn all of those differences. We take a moment to pray every morning. We have, special prayer helper that joins us and leads us in our prayer. This is where we tell everybody their jobs for the day. We have calendar, weather, light monitor, line leader, caboose who counts, the prayer helper, and the fruit picker. So once we have more fruits, they get to pick which fruit we're going to review for that day. Here is where we are also introducing their letters. So we use Handwriting Without Tears, and it has a special little focus on Matman. So Matman is great because, as you can see here, he shows us what we're supposed to look like. You might have seen your kids' pictures as they come home, and it's just like a circle for their heads and 2 lines and 2 arms, because that's kind of what they think. That's what they see when they look at you, and they're not spending a lot of time looking in mirrors. So Matman shows them that there's a face and ears and eyes and nose and mouth. But what's also special about Matman is he helps us learn how to form all of our letters. So for all of our capital letters, they can be made with pieces of Matman. So Matman has big line and little line, and he has big curve and little curve. And you use these to make all of the letters in the alphabet. So C or L or T, you can make O. So Matman is really helping them learn that it's actually pretty easy to write and form those letters, because you just need big line, big curve, and little curve. So it's a super fun way to help them learn about those letters. So it is about 15 minutes, and then right after circle time, we go into a period of, dancing. We have a lot of fun dancing to different songs every morning, or on Wednesdays and Thursdays, you'll see worship. Then this is here after circle time is where they'll hear the story, and then we will go ahead and dance and worship and say thank you to Jesus. So this really is a special time of learning. It's also where we discuss each morning what our green choices are, red choices are, which you will hear a little bit more about later. It's just the thumbs up or thumbs down. Are you making a thumbs down choice, which is a red choice, and how can you change that to a thumbs up choice? Because just because you're making a thumbs down choice does not mean that you were a bad kid or anything like that. It's just we're trying to change that to a thumbs up choice. After circle is when we get to go ahead and go out to recess. So that is where we'll go next.
So after circle time, we will line the kids up starting with the line leader, and we will get ready to go out for recess. There are 3 different areas to separate the different classes that are out playing. And we recommend that you bring your kids with a jacket, even if the weather's nice outside, because we go out pretty early, and while we are out, we are in the shade. And as the weather starts to turn colder here, they're gonna need their hats and gloves and jackets for sure.
Another big important thing that your student is learning in pre-K is how to school. That is why it's called pre-K. And the way that we do that is we focus on 5 developmental domains that are important to the growth, safety, and health of your child. So we're gonna go through each of those as we kind of go through the rest of the day in our centers, because it starts getting incorporated even more at this point. So gross motor is one of the big ones. It is using their big muscles or their whole body all at once. And that is obviously huge on the playground. There's basketball, there's climbing the dome, running, riding their bike, going up and down for the slides. Those are a lot of things that incorporate the big muscles that we want to make sure are big and strong and growing correctly. We also are going to be focusing a lot on their core this year, because core is very important to the strength and growing for your child. So we'll do dance parties, yoga, planks. Miss Vicky's looking forward to that. So we'll be having fun with all of that to develop that gross motor developmental domain.
After your kids go out for recess, we also line them back up, to come back inside, and when they do that, they come back in and they wash their hands right away, and then they go get their snacks, have a seat at the table, and eat their snack. Okay. So once the kids have finished eating their snack, this is kind of a walkthrough of what they do next. So they throw their trash away, and then they will go wash their hands. They'll get their mask back on. They pack up their cubby, their water bottle, and whatever, if they have a snack container or anything like that, or a leftover snack. So they'll get those things, any items that they've worked on during the day that are in their cubby, and they'll pack up their backpacks. After they've done that, then they take their name from the board that they did in the morning, and they'll erase their name and put that away. And once that's complete, then they can go find a book and sit on the floor and just look through the book.
Every morning we have centers, and the center time starts right after story time, and there are places to go. Every friend has a little pencil, and they're all different colors, and it helps them to know where they should go. And we have 4 tables, so we have a table that would have a place where they could start, and they'll just put their little pencil down. It has a little paw there, and there'll be a table here where they'll be reinforcing the skill we're doing for the day. So it could be a letter page, it could be numbers, it could even be cutting. Then they have a choice to move around to another center. One of the others is the craft area. And usually, both Mary and I handle crafts. So like this week, we did a little creation craft where we encouraged them to do some coloring, put it together. So you probably got this at home. We'll also have some crafts related to this awesome journal that they all have. This is Miss Vicky's, but this is one of our friends named Josie. Every child has their own journal. And it started with a real easy page of who they are. This is Josie's first day picture. Every child did this. And through the year, they'll use this journal to do some artwork, but also to do things like this. Next week, we'll do letter L. We're going to introduce L because we introduce letters. And then there'll be a little art page to go with it. There'll also be some other crafts that they'll tell you about. They'll all be in here. You'll get it at the end of the year. It's a kind of like their year in review, that you'll get that at the end of the year. Then we also have some places that are just open centers. Like they could come over here, and this is Lincoln Logs, and build a little house. Or we have things like blocks that are often open, and they just can pull this basket down, and this has become a favorite place for building. There's all kinds of choices. Mr. Potato Head, we have a railroad. We have all kinds of activities that they can choose from. So those things are set on the floor, and the children can choose. The other thing about their little pencil is, because it can get overcrowded in some places, you'll see this little paw that says 4. So when 4 friends are here, it's not as crowded. Or 3 friends can come over here and play in the kitchen. Really helps to keep that center time just moving along so everybody has a place to play. Another important area that we really stress is helping children with their social and emotional needs. And one of the biggest things is just making friends. And that is hard for 4-year-olds because they're very much all about them. So what we do is encourage them to use their words when they're playing with friends. As they approach a friend, they don't use their hands, they do use their words. And we really want that to be a really positive time when they're here. And we're seeing that, they're making friends. Another area is, we call it the red and green choices, because you know, everybody makes a bad choice sometimes. Like I push my friends. And so we use that thumbs up. Was that a thumbs up or was that a thumbs down? And how can we change it? And that's been one of the things that's been really good with our friends, seeing how to make a good choice. And then the other thing we want to really look at is, how are they feeling that day? Sometimes some children come in just out of sorts. And so we want to see emotionally how they can get to a happy place. And so we have a board with some mirrors that they can go look at and some faces that they can try to decide, how am I feeling today? And we really think that's really important. So you can even help that at home by asking those questions of your children too. Mm-hmm. Another important area is the cognitive area. And I know everybody's really worried about, what are they learning at school? Well, they're going to learn a lot of things. So we have a whole number and letter concepts that we do all year. And the way it's done is super easy, and ways that you could even do at home. So for numbers, for example, this is a little game box that we have. It's called a task box. And in it are some blocks and some cards. So this one is build a tower, 1. So once they recognize the number, can you build a tower with 2? And so super easy, but again, it's the area that's building their brain because they're learning, so cognitively. The other thing we do a lot is letters. So here's a game. Do we know that capital A and small a go together? Well, here's a game you can do it. And we only have a few letters in each box because if you did 1 to 26, they'd be burned out really quickly. So matching letters. Another thing is just puzzles. This is a really easy puzzle. It just counts from 1 to 10. It's not so easy, actually. I've had a little trouble with it, but they do well. They just have to put the little puzzle in there and just count from 1 to 10. So when you're doing things at home, let them count. If you're getting things out for dinner, let them count the forks. Do things that help them learn things like that. The other thing I want to really encourage you with too is writing their name, which we're going to do. But if you follow up at home, this is the way that school does writing, upper and lowercase letters. So if you're doing all capitals, you need to start to change over to this style because when they get to kindergarten, this is the incorrect way. And they're going to have a hard time flipping over. So start with upper and lowercase. A lot of them are already writing their names, so continue doing that because that's an awesome thing.
So one of the other 5 developmental domains is fine motor, and some of the activities we use to cover that are using scissors. So we teach them in class thumbs to God, so that they know the proper position to hold their scissors in, and pencil grip. So we teach them that there needs to be a little mountain when they hold their pencil. So we work on that in class, as well as other fun little activities like taking these puff balls with the tweezers and putting them on the card. Or we have these little fun pegboards here that they can make little shapes with and stuff like that. And then we also have these cards with the numbers on it, and then they will just take these and match the numbers. So 1 on this one, and then they'll do a tower of 3 on that one. So all day long in class, your kids are learning they're developing their fine motor skills. So after center time, the kids will help clean everything up, and then they will pack anything from centers back into their backpacks, and then they will come sit down on the floor for closing circle.
So during closing circle, it's really just a great time for us to be able to come back together, make a few key points and reinforce maybe something we've learned about the day. If we have extra time, we'll play a game, maybe we'll do a dance, talk to each other. Sometimes I'll go through and we will tell the kids each something we noticed that they did great that day or something we think that's special about them. So it's really just a great little closing time for us to meet with your kids. Here is probably a good time to talk about our last developmental domain, which is speech and language. And obviously that is very important at this age, not only so that they can continue to develop their words correctly and be understood, but also because as we're getting into reading, it's really important for them to be able to make those sounds and hear those sounds so that they could read effectively and correctly. So we are always looking for ways to help them with that by enunciation, teaching them each time we go through a letter how to correctly say the letter sound, how to form it very clearly using our mouth to teach them what our tongue and our teeth are doing. Having them see a picture and tell a story about it is developing their imagination in that language and being able to make more thoughts into just that little thing that they're saying. Well, that is it. That is our day. We really hope that you have enjoyed learning a little bit more about your kids' day. Before we go, I do want to let you guys know a couple of other things as well, just basics about the classroom. Birthdays. We love to celebrate birthdays in here. We give all the kids a song, a special toy from us teachers. We do ask, we have no problem with you guys bringing in a special treat for their friends, but we do ask that it's not food related, just because we have allergies and the restrictions of what they can bring in. So it's easier to just have them bring in a fun little toy that their friends can take home. For the summer birthdays, we actually don't have that many, but we have a few more to celebrate. So we will be doing that on their half birthday. So in that 6 month, the week that it falls in is when we will have them, if they would choose to bring toys in for their friends or trinkets in for their friends, and then they get to choose from the toy bucket and have, you know, the song sang to them and have a good special day as well. So that is how we are doing birthdays. For snacks, just a friendly reminder, we are peanut-free building. What you have to look for on the label is on a little purple sheet here. Contains nuts, may contain nuts, or was processed on the same equipment with nuts. Those three things, unfortunately, we cannot serve when we see them come in. Your child will be given an alternative snack. They're certainly not going to go hungry, but we do have to be very careful about that. You know, you might bring something in that doesn't have a label. If it's something that is well known or that we could look up on the internet, then it's fine. If it's not something we are familiar with, we would need the ingredients or, you know, part of the package or something so that we can verify and keep all of our friends in the class safe. With that as well, we do ask that if you can, could you please label water bottles and lunch boxes and coats and backpacks. Sometimes those kids just forget what they wear in the morning or what water bottle they brought, and so it just makes things a lot easier for us. So we hope you have gotten tons of information that is helpful for you today. Please always never hesitate to reach out to me on the portal. I will be happy to answer you as quickly as I can. If you haven't already, join the Facebook page because that's where we'll post pictures and fun things and reminders of what happens through the year. And then also just know that you can always reach out to us at any time when you are here to drop off your kiddo or pick them up. We are loving your kiddos. We are loving having them this year. It is just going to be a great and very special year. So we'll see you soon.
Bye.